Hello. With a new season comes new expectations, and welcome out to the Arizona Christian softball field here at Arizona Christian University in Glendale, Arizona. It's a pleasure to have you along. I'm Ryan Sirk, and what is the season opener for the Firestorm? They are going up against a familiar opponent in the College of Idaho, Yotes, who already have one game played so far in the season, sweeping the Park Gilbert. So actually 2 games. The first game ended up 10-2, and the second one 10-1. So the Yotes already in command of the early part of their season. The Yotes are under head coach Al Mendiola in his 19th season. The Firestorm with Mike Maben in his 3rd season as head coach. So the Firestorm, as I mentioned, the first game of the season, they'll go with the starting lineup of Savannah Smith out in the pitching circle. Catching her pitches will be Miranda Hipolito. And then the infielder starting at third base, Adana Herrera. And shortstop is Claire Buckley. I'll probably say her name a lot throughout this broadcast. Jaden Miles at second and Brina Henry at first. Now moving on to the outfield, it's Elena Garcia, Ryan Reese, and Reina Gonzalez, as we will lead things off with Lexi Navarrete. The starting right fielder for the Yotes due up this inning is Navarrete, Haruza, and Walker. As the first pitch is thrown, as that one was called a strike, was waiting for the official ruling. I didn't hear the umpire say anything, but he did wave up his arm for strike one. So the 0-1 pitch is thrown. That one's too low. That's going to be ball 1. The umpires today calling balls and strikes is going to be Sarah Gottbetter. And the umpire standing right now at first base is going to be James Whittekind. Savannah Smith winds and deals. This one is swung on and hit towards short. Buckley up under it and throwing on to first for out number 1. So the Firestorm, with the first batter faced in 2024, is a good batter, Lexi Navarrete, and she is retired for out number 1. That brings up Hattie Haruza, the 2-time NFCA All-Region second-team player. Batted .380 last season with 4 home runs and 52 RBIs. Smith checks to see what pitch she wants. She winds and fires in the first pitch for ball 1. So as I mentioned, these two teams have played often, and the Yotes have emerged victorious more often than not. Out of the 13 meetings between the two teams, the Yotes of College of Idaho have won 11 of those. And it's the 5th time in 7 years that ACU has opened their season against the College of Idaho, as this second pitch is looked at for strike 1. 1-1 the count, as Savannah Smith will now make her way back into the pitching circle. 1 out, and 1's all the way across the board. No score as of yet. Hattie Haruza at the plate. We'll look at ball 2. That one's too low. Good crowd on hand as well. Sunny day in Arizona. We've had a couple of rainy days the past week or so, as this one is looked at for strike 2. So the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Haruza hasn't swung the bat yet, but she'll be probably looking to put this ball in play. They don't want to be struck out looking. Savannah Smith from Bellingham, Washington, wheels and deals. This one is swung on and hit to first. Brina Henry will go on and collect for out number 2. So Firestorm in complete control defensively. Savannah Smith getting into her windup and looking comfortable out there in the circle. Had a 2.46 ERA last season with a 20-12 record. And what's outstanding is she threw 213 Ks. Up to the plate now is Lola Walker, who had 3 home runs in that game against Park Gilbert. And this one is looked at for strike 1. Lola Walker was 3 of 5 with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. She's down in an 0-1 count. Savannah Smith checks her sleeve and fires in. Ball one. Count is even at one apiece. No strikeouts as of yet, but every ball put in play has been picked up and thrown on to first. Buckley had the first one throwing from short to first as Smith winds and fires in. This one's fouled away for strike two. And just as a reminder, this is the first game of two between the two teams. It is the first of a doubleheader. The lights will eventually be turned on in the second game as Smith fires in the 1-2 pitch way too high, but a good job by Hippolito to get up and grab that. 2-2 the count. Hippolito from Ontario, California. Had a .318 average, 2 home runs, and 27 RBIs, catching behind the plate for the Firestorm. Here is Smith firing in. Strike three. So Savannah Smith gets her first strikeout and no runs on no hits. Easy doing for the Firestorm as we'll head to the home half of the first inning next on the GSAC Sports Network. And back at Arizona Christian University here in Glendale, Arizona, the away half of the top of the first resulted in no runs, no hits, and no errors as the first pitch by Annie Polster is looked at for strike one. Up to the plate is Claire Buckley from Clovis, California. She is well regarded as one of the best players for the Firestorm. And this one is seared towards third. The hot corner, Lindsey Jones, able to collect that one and throw on to first. Hannah McKell at first, able to catch for out number one. So the starting pitcher for the Yotes is Annie Polster from West Richland, Washington, with a 2.43 ERA, 2-1, and 3 complete games last season. Catching her pitches is Hallie Holland from Victoria, British Columbia. As the first pitch is swung on and hit towards second, Ashley Nixon diving for it. She does get it, but she's unable to throw on to first, so Jaden Miles will get into first as the first hit of the ball game for the Firestorm and the first hit overall. Miles from Sacramento, California. Had a .360 average and 15 RBIs last season. A GSAC Gold Glove winner ×2 at left field. She is playing second base today as the first pitch is looked at for strike one. Elena Garcia at the plate from La Mirada, California. And rounding out the infield for the Yotes, it's Lindsey Jones at third. Kaylee McDonald, as this one is swung on and missed for strike two. Kaylee McDonald at short, Ashley Nixon at second, and Hannah McKell at first. And now moving on into the outfield at left field is Madeline Powell. In center is Hattie Haruza, and right field is Lexi Navarrete. And there's ball one. So 1-2 count on Garcia. We'll see how aggressive the Firestorm want to be on the base pads. This one is swung on and hit foul. That's going to go all the way behind the net and into the stands behind home plate. So staying alive is Elena Garcia. Due up next is Miranda Ippolito. And fouled away once again. Polster did pitch in one of the last games on Monday for the Yotes. She pitched a complete game and a win with 7 Ks. That one's going to bounce to the plate. Cricket-style pitch is collected behind home plate by Hallie Holland. Good job not allowing that one to go behind the backstop, as Miles would have advanced to second. 2-2 count. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. This one swung on and hit into the outfield, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So Madeline Powell able to grab that one in left field, and Elena Garcia gets her first hit of 2024. Garcia at first, Miles at second, and the Firestorm are in business with just 1 out.
Catcher number 24, Miranda Hippolito.
Hippolito now steps into the batter's box. Base hit here could score Miles from second. She does have a fair bit of speed on the base pads. This one is swung on and hit out towards left field. That one's going to keep traveling, and Powell unable to collect. So Miles will round third and get home for our first run of the ball game. Unable to advance from first to third, but staying at second is Garcia, and Hippolito is in at first with an RBI and our first run of the game. Firestorm with an early 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. Up to the plate now is Abby Kovault, looking to keep the inning alive and keep scoring runs for the Firestorm. Kovault, the designated player for the Firestorm, will look at strike one. So now Garcia at second, Hippolito at first. 1 run already scored here in this inning. Polster winds and fires. This one's fouled away. 0-2 count on Kovault. Kovault from Kaiser, Oregon, batted .287 last season with 1 home run and 19 RBIs. Polster will fire. That one doesn't clip the corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And before Arizona Christian University, she attended Southern Oregon University. And this one is swung on and tapped foul. So staying alive is Kovault. Assisting Mike Mabin today is Casey Mabin, Aubrey Ledbetter, Brent Smith, Tatum Porras, Zach Tracy, Taylor Tracy, and Kirsten Garcia. This one is tapped foul once again. So Kovault seeing a lot of pitches and making sure Polster pitches a lot of pitches as to not allow her to go the complete game. Still early. And the wind and the delivery is swung on and missed, and that will be out number 2 for the Firestorm, and will bring up Dana Herrera, the third baseman for the Firestorm. From Albuquerque, New Mexico. Herrera, just a freshman. So she'll make her first plate appearance for the Firestorm. She is able to bloop that one into the outfield for extra bases. Rounding third and scoring is Garcia. And rounding third and scoring as well is Miranda Hippolito. So a 2-run single for Dana Herrera, who wasted no time in singling that one out towards right center field. And the Firestorm with an early 3-0 lead over the College of Idaho. The Yotes are in a bit of a pickle here. The first pitch towards Ryan Reese is too high. That's ball 1. Reese from Boulder City, Nevada. That one's too low as well. 2-0. Polster, too far inside, and unable to grab that one was Hallie Holland. So Dana Herrera will make her way down into scoring position at second base with 2 outs. And time will be called as Holland wants to have a word with her pitcher, Annie Polster. It is just a mound conference, not a mound visit. Nobody coming out from the dugout to discuss things. Just the infield and the catcher and pitcher discussing things in the pitching circle. And seems like everything is all fine and dandy as Annie Polster will be looking to conclude the first inning. It's been a long one for her. 3 runs allowed so far. And she's still not out of it. Ryan Reese at the plate. We'll look at strike one. 3-1 count. Polster will get the signs from Holland. Polster winds, delivers, and it's swung foul. So full count, full outs just about. 3-2, 2 outs. Runner on second is Herrera. First base is open if Reese does walk. Reese will tap this one straight back up to the pitcher, Polster. Polster grabs it and throws on to first for out number 3. So the Firestorm able to strike first and strike quickly and strike often as they score 3 runs in the bottom of the first. We'll see how the Yotes answer in the top of the second. We'll be right back on the GSAC Sports Network. Due up here in the top of the second is Madeline Powell, Ashlyn Nixon, and Kaylee McDonald for the Yotes. And back out into the pitching circle is Savannah Smith for the Firestorm. Powell will lead things off from McMinnville, Oregon. She was the only freshman on the Cascade Collegiate Conference first team, and she won an NAIA Gold Glove out in left field. And the stats are pretty staggering with a .410 average, 5 home runs, and 29 RBIs as a freshman last season. This one is looked at for ball 1. Surprisingly, called a ball as Sarah got better is the umpire behind home plate. Smith had an 1-2-3 inning in the first. And this one is swung on and missed for strike 1. Powell has a lot of power. And surprisingly, she was unable to get an out in left field. It was a hard hit ball out toward the warning track, but the Gold Glove stature that she is, unable to collect as this one is looked at for ball 2. Too far outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Smith trying to paint the corners, but got better, saying they're a little too far outside. As the 4th pitch is looked at for ball 3. So 3-1 the count. And Smith in danger of walking her first batter. Smith will wind and deliver too far outside as Madeline Powell will walk on down the first base line and take first base. Not the worst thing that could have happened for the pitcher Savannah Smith because, as I mentioned, Madeline Powell is a very good hitter as she will be at first base with no outs as Ashlyn Nixon will be up to the plate, starting today at second base and the second hitter here in the second. From Corvallis, Montana. She'll start things off in an 0-1 count as a good pitch by Savannah Smith makes it no balls and 1 strike. Nixon was 3 of 6 with a home run yesterday. This one is swung on and tapped towards short. Buckley under it and throwing across the diamond. Out number 1. Meanwhile, Madeline Powell advances towards second, so she'll be at second base in scoring position with just 1 out. And up to the plate is Kaylee McDonald.
First out, number 3, Kaylee McDonald.
From Ripon, California, a .410 average and 3 home runs, 31 RBIs last season. The shortstop will look at strike 1. Good pitch by Savannah Smith. One out, 0-1 pitch. Is at the shins, not at the knee, so ball 1. Smith will wind and have her pitch fouled away. So 1 ball, 2 strikes on Kaylee McDonald. Still at second is Madeline Powell. Nice facilities here at Arizona Christian University, turf softball field. So if it does get a little bit of rain, we can still have some softball played. As a 1-2 pitch, too low. Ball 2. There is some weather for Thursday that might be a bit of a problem, but we'll get to that when Thursday comes around. As Smith will wind and have her pitch fouled away. So staying alive is McDonald here in the top of the second. The Yotes trail 3-0. Firestorm started off things with a bang, scoring 3 runs in that bottom of the first. First game of the doubleheader between these two teams. This pitch is called strike 3, and out looking is Kaylee McDonald for out number 2. That will bring up Hannah McKell.
First baseman number 9, Hannah McKell.
McKell starting at first from Middleton, Idaho, making her first plate appearance here in the early stages of this game. First pitch is looked at for strike 1. Good pitch in the bottom right-hand corner of the batters of the strike zone. Ippolito doing a good job framing as well. Smith will have that one too far inside. Evens up the count 1-1. Smith checks her arm for the pitch and fires in. Strike 2. 1-2 the count with 2 outs and a runner on second is Powell. So after starting things off with a leadoff walk, Smith has now settled back in and gotten 2 straight outs and looking for back-to-back Ks here with this pitch. Smith winds and delivers 1-2 pitch is a swing and a miss, and just like that, we'll go to the bottom of the second next on the GSAC Sports Network. home half of the second upcoming as the Firestorm look to extend their 3-0 lead after Savannah Smith was able to bounce back with back-to-back Ks to conclude the top of the second as Abrina Henry is in the batter's box for the Firestorm. This one is fouled away. And just as a heads up for everybody listening and watching from home, on Friday there will be a game broadcasted for softball, but there will be no broadcaster. This one is swung on and missed for strike 3, but making her way down the first base line and almost getting there was Brina Henry for out number 1. There will be no broadcaster for Friday's game of softball. And on Saturday, there will be no live stream, but there will be live stats to stay up to date with all that is happening with the ACU Firestorm, as they'll be in action on Friday and Saturday. And looking at ball 1 and in the batter's box for the first time, and in the 9 hole is the right fielder Reyna Gonzalez from Hemet, California. Second pitch is swung on and hit straight back up the middle. McDonald under it and firing on to first, but too low for the first baseman, Hannah McKell, to pick it up, as it will be an error called on McDonald. And making her way all the way to second is Reyna Gonzalez, which will flip things over, and we will have the first hole hitter, Claire Buckley, up to the plate. That's our first error of the ball game. Haven't talked a lot about Buckley, but I did mention so instead of Reyna Gonzalez being at second base, she was out of the box when she hit that pitch, so she will have to step back into the batter's box. There will be no outs, nobody on. In fact, there's one out. Brina Henry was the first out. Nobody on, and we will just redo things as Gonzalez will swing and miss. 1-2 the count. Don't see that too often, but as you can see, sometimes Gonzalez wants to swing and hit at the same time. Will swing and run, and she did swing, but she ran a little too far and was outside of the batter's box, so she will have to step back into the batter's box here with a 2-2 count. Gonzalez will swing and tap this one towards short. McDonald looking to redeem herself, and she does just that, getting out number 2. So instead of McDonald being credited with an error, she then gets an assist, and there will be 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And now that brings up Claire Buckley with 2 outs, who batted 3.90 average, 7 home runs, and 46 RBI. She was a GSAC Gold Glove winner and Female Athlete of the Year, as well as GSAC Player of the Year in 2022, as she will take a hefty cut, but swing and miss for strike 1. Buckley was looking to extend the lead to 4 with that swing. From Clovis, California. This one is a strike at the knees, and in command is Annie Polster. Polster had that rough first inning outing, but here in the second she's calmed down and gotten back to what she does best. As this one will bounce to the plate. Did Buckley go around? She did not, so it's going to be a 1-2 count. A 1-2 pitch is swung on and hit out towards center field and collected by Hanny Haruza. Will bring out number 3. So no runs on no hits, no errors to speak of, and we'll go to the top of the third next on the GSAC Sports Network. we did have some confusion in the bottom of the second inning because Reina Gonzalez was on first base, but then she had to go back to the batter's box because she was ruled out of the box when she made contact with the pitch, which usually results in an out, but instead it was just a strike. But no damage done for the Yotes regardless, so the Firestorm still have a 3-0 lead here in the top of the third. Leading things off is the 8-hole hitter, Lindsey Jones. So due up is Jones, Holland, and Navarrete here in the top of the third. First pitch by Smith is called strike one. Jones from Kuna, Idaho, batted .214 with 5 RBIs last season. She'll look at ball one, missed the outside edge, 1-1. Smith checks her arm, winds and delivers. This one is swung on and hit towards left field, and a sliding grab by Garcia will be allowed out number one. Tremendous play by Garcia out and left. Not always easy to read the trajectory and get out number one. That will bring up Hallie Holland, the catcher, batting ninth from Victoria, British Columbia. First appearance here this afternoon, 3.58 average and 4 RBIs. This one is too low, ball one. And if you are coming to visit the ACU softball field to watch one of these doubleheader games upcoming, make sure to bring a hat, as I did not, and I'm struggling to keep the sun out of my eyes. As this one is swung on and hit straight back up to Smith for out number two. Good reaction play by Savannah Smith will bring up out number two. Sometimes as a pitcher, when it's swung straight back up the middle, you don't really have time to react. You just put your glove up, and luckily for Smith, she grabs that for out number two. Now the lineup flips on over. Lexi Navarrete up to the plate. 0-1 so far today. As the first pitch is too far outside, ball one. And with that sun coming towards home plate, it can be difficult for some of the hitters to see the ball, and that might be why we have such a pitching duel, barring that first inning by the Firestorm, who brought on an onslaught of 3 runs. That one's fouled away, so it evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Smith again will wind and deliver too low. A ball 2. Two balls and 1 strike. So the College of Idaho is 2-0 on the early part of the season, only played 1 opponent, which was yesterday against Park Gilbert. Smith's 4th delivery is fouled away, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The lights have turned on here at the softball field at Arizona Christian University in Glendale, Arizona. Swung on and tapped foul by Navarrete here with 2 outs. Navarrete staying alive, trying to do anything in her power to extend the top of the third. Two-two pitch. It's fouled away once again. Navarrete doing a good job staying alive, and Savannah Smith's going to have to try something different for the punch-out, as Navarrete seems to have her pitches timed and good location as well. We'll see what Smith comes out with here. Smith, 2-2 pitch is swung on and hit towards short. Buckley under it and throwing on to first, but beating it out is Navarrete as she will extend the inning with an infield hit. Buckley did everything she could, but Navarrete was just that much faster as she will get on to first with an infield single. And that brings up Hattie Haruza, the center fielder for the College of Idaho Yotes. Firestorm still lead 3-0. First pitch to Haruza is too low, ball one. One-0 pitch. Too far inside this time, so 2-0. And this kind of a count favors the hitter. Hattie Haruza will be looking to send this ball into the gap somewhere and bring Navarrete home from first. The 2 outs here in the top of the third. 2-0 pitch is too far outside, 3-0. And now the question becomes, does Coach Al Mendiola give Haruza the go-ahead to swing? 3-0 pitch. And taking all the way was Haruza, who will look at strike one. Trying to battle back into this count, Savannah Smith. Down 3-1 here in the count. Three-one pitch, fouled away, so everything is full as first base is occupied by Lexi Navarrete, who will be in motion on this pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. So there will be some sort of action here on this pitch. Payoff pitch is stung out towards short, collected by Buckley, who will fire on to first. And this time in time as Haruza is retired. So no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. So going on to the bottom of the third, the Firestorm still lead 3-0. Bottom of the third next on the GSAC Sports Network. Jaden Miles will lead things off here in the bottom of the third, and she will look at ball one to start things off. Back out in the pitching circle is Annie Polster, who gave up those 3 runs in the first, but bounced back in the second. The top of the lineup has been good for the Firestorm, as this one is swung on and hit foul, evens the count at 1. Miles from Sacramento, California. Swings and taps this one to short. McDonald under it and firing on to first, not in time, as Jaden Miles will leg out an infield single. As we saw on the top of the third, Miles doing the exact same thing, grounding out, well, not grounding out, but grounding too short and using her legs to get there in time. Up now is Elena Garcia. Miles, as we just saw, has some speed at first. We'll see if the Firestorm test it. It will be a bunt by Garcia, and a good one as Polster was unable to collect at the pitching circle and it will be called a hit. So Elena Garcia and Jaden Miles with back-to-back infield singles have the Firestorm in business with no outs and 2 runners on. Miles on second, Garcia on first. And that will bring up the cleanup hitter, Miranda Hippolito, who had 2 home runs last season. She doesn't look like she will be swinging here. Fakes out the bunt, swings and hits one high up in the air out towards left field. Under it is the left fielder, Madeline Powell, and that will be out number 1.
Let's go, Abby. Here we go.
And that brings up the designated player, Abby Kovolt. Runner in scoring position. Firestorm looking to extend the lead.
Designated player number 1, Abby Koval.
Struck out last time. And Good Eye this time starts off in a 1-0 count. This one is swung on and tapped off of Kovalt's leg, but she seems to be okay. Bit of a stinger. And because it hit Koval, that will be a foul ball and a strike, so it evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out here in the bottom of the third. Polster's pitch is tapped over the fence. Foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Miles on second, Garcia on first after back-to-back infield hits. 1-2 pitch. Bounces on top of the plate, but a good job by Holland to keep that one within her range and not allow the runners to advance. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two pitch. Fouled away. Polster winds, delivers, and a good job by Koval again. Seen a lot of pitches in this at-bat, and that's what the Firestorm have done early in this game, have racked up the pitch count for Annie Polster. This will be her 49th pitch in just 2 1/3 innings pitched so far. This one also tapped foul. So pitch 50 up next as Koval keeps fighting away, trying to avoid her second strikeout. Two pitch, swung on and tapped back up the middle, collected by the third baseman, Lindsey Jones, who fires on to first, but not in time as Abby Koval with a infield hit, and that means now that Dana Herrera will be up to the plate. Bases loaded with 1 out.
Number 7, Dana Herrera.
3 infield singles in a row for the Firestorm have them in business. As the first pitch is looked at for ball 1. Miles on third, Garcia on second, and Koval on first. There's ball 2. Pitch finds the zone. There's a strike. Now it'll be 2 balls and a strike. Good eye once again by Herrera. So now a 3-1 count, and Polster has no place to put Dana Herrera as she is at risk of walking in a run here in the bottom of the third. 3-1 pitch is looked at for ball 4. That will plate home a run as Jaded Miles will trot on down the third base line and score the fourth run here in the early stages of this game. Joel Dowdy pinch hitting for Ryan Reese. Bases loaded, same situation, except the Firestorm are now up 4-0.
Pitching for your Firestorm, number 44, Joel Dowdy.
Joel Dowdy from Houston, California, will swing at the first pitch for strike one. At third is Garcia, at second is Kovalt, and at first is Herrera. Dowdy fouls off the second one, and now she's in an 0-2 hole. It can be difficult to come off the bench in a situation like this to pinch hit with the bases loaded. But Dowdy doing her best. 0-2 count as Polster will be looking for a strikeout. 0-2 pitch, too far outside, 1-2. One-two, tapped foul, way to stay alive. Joel Dowdy fouls that one towards the College of Idaho dugout. Bases loaded, one out. And a swing and a miss will retire Dowdy, and that's exactly what Annie Polster needed to get back into this game as we have a pinch hitter. It will be Trinity Lawson pinch hitting for Brenna Henry. Bases loaded, 2 outs here in the bottom of the third.
Pitching for your Firestorm, number 25, Trinity Lawson.
Lawson, a junior from Escondido, California. Will swing at the first pitch as well, and an 0-1 count to start things off. Coming up in the batter's box, cold. As I mentioned, not an easy thing to do. You've been watching the game from the dugout. This one is swung on and tapped straight up in the air towards third. Lindsey Jones is under it, and she will collect out number 3. Minimal damage allowed by Annie Polster, but one run does come across in the form of a walk, as the Firestorm will now take a 4-0 lead as we head to the top of the fourth. Next on the GSAC Sports Network. Leading things off here in the top of the fourth inning is Lola Walker from Meridian, Idaho. I talked about her a little bit the first time she went up to the plate. When she struck out, she had 3 home runs yesterday against Park Gilbert, went 3 of 5. She transferred in to the university. She transferred in from the University of New Mexico to the College of Idaho. As she fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. Smith still out in the pitching circle for the Firestorm. as she winds and delivers. Strike one. Strike two, excuse me, as in an 0-2 hole now is Lola Walker, in danger of striking out back-to-back times. Smith looking for her fourth strikeout. She won't get it on that pitch, 1-2. Smith, in 3 innings of work, has only allowed 1 hit and 1 walk. Has been pretty dominant. Hasn't really been in danger of allowing the first run for the College of Idaho. As this one is swung on and hit up in the air, but not very far, and coming under it is Elena Garcia for out number 1. That will bring up Madeline Powell next. And due up after her is Ashlyn Nixon.
Left fielder number 15, Madeline Powell.
Powell, just a sophomore, but she was the only freshman on the Cascade Collegiate Conference first team last season. Her first plate appearance, she walked. And Smith able to get ahead early in this count, 0-1. Smith seemed to want to pitch around Powell in that first at-bat. Didn't really give her a pitch to hit. We'll see how aggressive Smith wants to be with a 4-0 lead. That one's going to be too low, 1-1. I've always been told solo shots can't really hurt you. So I wouldn't be surprised if Savannah Smith wants to attack Madeline Powell here. 1-1 pitch is in the zone, strike 2. That was a kind of testing pitch, as Powell could have swung the bat, but hasn't swung the bat so far today. The wind and the delivery is tapped foul. So staying alive is Powell. And just as a reminder, this is the first game of 2 to be played here tonight on the GSAC Sports Network. And if you missed any part of the first 3 innings, you can always go back, watch that on demand after the game is done. As the 1-2 pitch is swung on and hit hard out towards center field. Going under it is Reese, and collecting for out number 2. So a couple of loud outs to start things off here for the Firestorm, but no damage done. We'll bring up Ashlyn Nixon with 2 outs.
Second baseman number 10, Ashlyn Nixon.
And a swing and a miss to start things off has Smith in business. Smith, a senior from Bellingham, Washington, in command early of this game. This one is tapped foul as well, so 0-2 the count. Nixon, a left-handed hitter, trying to keep the inning alive. Oh, 2 pitch is a swing and a miss, and that will conclude the top of the 4th inning. So Smith starting that inning pretty much how she's gone along the entire game. No runs on no hits and no errors. Have the Firestorm back up to the plate next on the GSAC Sports Network. And starting things off is the right fielder, Reina Gonzalez, here in the bottom of the fourth inning. She got on base last time thanks to an error. No, excuse me, she's 0 for 1 today. She had got on base based off an error, and then she had to go back into the box, and then she eventually grounded out. That one's in the zone. Gonzalez likes to go with that running up kind of a hit. She did that the first time up, but she extended herself a little too far and was outside of the batter's box, as this one is fouled away. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. This one is swung on and hits to the left fielder, Madeline Powell, who was right in the exact location where that ball was going. So a good position taken by Powell for out number 1. And that will flip the lineup on over and bring up Claire Buckley. We do have time taken by the College of Idaho, which could result in a pitching change. I haven't seen the ball being taken from Annie Polster. She's just juggling the ball out there. That gives me a chance to remind you not. Let me rephrase that. This gives me a chance to remind you that on Friday and Saturday, there will be a stream on Friday for the softball games, but there won't be a broadcaster, as there are 19 home events in 3 days, and everybody behind the scenes has to be scrambling and figure out what to do. So there will be no broadcaster. I will be away on a trip, and on Saturday there will be no live stream. There will be only live events, live stats, excuse me. But that just means that you can come out to the Arizona Christian softball field and watch in person, and I would recommend bringing a hat and showing up early, as the stands fill pretty quickly. And we do have a pitching change, and throwing her warm-up pitches is Grace Neer, the sophomore from La Grande, Oregon.
Number 26, Grace Neer.
It is still Claire Buckley up to start things off for Neer. Her first pitch is too low. Her warm-up pitches were perfect, but her first pitch is too low, ball 1. So that will conclude Annie Polster's day in the circle. She allowed 4 runs, as Buckley will ground out to her shortstop counterpart and beat out the throw. That bounces, and unable to pick it was Hannah McKell, and that will be called a hit. So Claire Buckley will get on first with 1 out and an infield single.
Number 13.
Now second baseman Jaden Miles will be up to the plate, left-handed hitter. Buckley can use her speed to steal. She thought about it. Elects to go back and just kind of give something for Neer to think about. As I mentioned, Neer from La Grande, Oregon. Sophomore, standing at 6 feet tall. Will wind and deliver. Outside of the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Near's third delivery is swung on and hit foul by Miles. Firestorm have been in control from the very start, scoring 3 runs in the bottom of that first inning. Sun slowly going down behind the houses out in right field, as the lights are already turned on for when that happens. This one is too far outside, 3-1. A tough spot for Neer to be introduced at, as she has to face the top of this Firestorm lineup. Buckley got on first already, and swinging and missing, but stealing second will be Claire Buckley. So Buckley will be in scoring position with just 1 out. Miles will be faced with a full count scenario. Good bounce back pitch by Neer. Three-two pitch, swung on and tapped to third, but that one will trot. He'll travel out of play for foul ball, so we'll redo it. 3-2-1, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Game has gone by relatively quickly, as we're an hour or so in, and we're already in the bottom of the fourth. Near's payoff pitch is swung on and hit to second, so Miles will ground out to her counterpart, as Miles will be out number 2. But she does advance Buckley to third, which means any wild pitch, anything put in play would score Buckley from third, as Elena Garcia will be back up to the plate. She's 2 for 2 today. That's too far outside. Doesn't clip the corner. Starts things off with a 1-0 count. And for those watching from home, I would love to get your insight, and we'll talk about that at the turn of the next inning, as Kaylee McDonald will grab that one and throw on to first for out number 3. So we'll head to the top of the 5th next on the GSAC Sports Network. Now back in the top of the 5th inning, we do have a substitute, as Reina Gonzalez will be replaced by Caitlin Terzakis. And leading things off is Kaylee McDonald. So due up this inning, McDonald, McKell, and Jones, the 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Yotes. Still going strong is Savannah Smith. That's her first pitch here in the top of the 5th. Will be looked at for ball 1. And the question I had before going to break was, are softball players as superstitious as baseball players? Because baseball players, they do one thing one way and they win the game, and they continue to do that until they lose. I do wonder if softball players are just like that, as this one is grounded to second, collected by Miles, and thrown on to first for out number 1. Making quick work of these Yotes hitters is Savannah Smith. And I'd love to hear an answer to that. If you want to tweet or send an X message at Cirque_Ryan. Up now is Hannah McKell. This one is swung on and hit foul. Strike one. One of the things that I know baseball players really care about is when walking into the batter's box, you should never walk over home plate, right? Because for whatever reason, they find that superstitious, and they believe that if you do that, something bad will happen and you won't get a hit. And I've seen the softball players here this afternoon do exactly that. Now the second pitch is looked at for ball one. 1-1 the count. As finally the sun has gone down behind the houses out towards right center field. This ball is too low, 2-1. McKell last time up, she struck out, one of Savannah Smith's 4 strikeouts under her belt. Smith only allowed 1 hit so far today and 1 walk. As she will wind and deliver, that one too low, so in danger of walking her second batter here in the top of the 6th. Top of the 5th inning, excuse me. And they swing and a miss. Will load up the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out here in the inning as Miles was able to retire Kaylee McDonald with a nice play at second base.
Come on. Is the scoreboard working or no?
No, that's working, yeah.
So
But we don't have the right, they don't have the right thing on it. But they just told her to use the score.
Payoff pitch. Fouled away, so we'll have to redo that.
It wasn't set to softball?
As Smith is now having to rack up the pitch count here against Hannah McKell.
They couldn't find it, so they put the...
McKell saw less playtime last season than usual, but it's good to see her back out on the field for the Yotes. As she will swing and a miss as Hannah McKell is retired for out number 2. That will bring up Lindsey Jones to try and start a 2-out rally for the College of Idaho. The Yotes don't have many more opportunities as they're down to 7 outs remaining here in this game. And the Firestorm still with a commanding 4-0 lead. Smith has been undeterred out there on the center on the pitching circle as this one is looked at for ball 1 to start things off on Lindsey Jones. Jones, the third baseman for the Yotes, looking for her first hit here in her second plate appearance. The wind and the delivery is fouled away for strike 1. I would imagine Coach Maben doesn't want to dip into his bullpen too early into this game because we do have another game after this. Would want to save those arms for the second game if he could. And that one is a strike at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. One-two pitch is tapped, a foul, but trying to get under it is Abrina Henry. But that one will drop innocently out of play, and we'll redo the 1-2 pitch. This will be Smith's 74th pitch. And it's fouled away again. So Smith, this inning, hasn't been troubled, but she has had to pitch a lot of pitches. She'll be looking for another strikeout. This inning, McDonald grounded out to second. McKell was retired on strikes, and now Lindsey Jones in a 1-2 count. Savannah Smith will be looking to make it through 5 with no runs allowed and just one hit. 1-2 pitch. It's swung on and hit towards second, and just over the outstretched glove of Jaden Miles will result in a 2-out hit. As Lindsey Jones will potentially start a rally here for the Yotes. Just Smith's second hit given up. It was a tough play at second for Miles. And that will bring up Hallie Holland to the plate.
Pitcher number 5, Hallie Holland.
Left-handed hitter. And catching this afternoon. 3.58 average last season. She is 0 for 1 today. Starting things off with a ball. Jones on first. 2 outs. 4-run deficit for the College of Idaho. The wind and the delivery too far outside as Smith falls behind 2-0 now. .20 pitch is swung on and finding the gap right between second base and right field and rounding second and getting on to third, but a runner caught in a rundown, but nobody at first, as Holland will be able to trot on back to first base with no damage done. For the Firestorm and runners at the corners, it will be Lindsay on third and Holland at first as the lineup flips over and will bring up Lexi Navarrete. And we do have a pinch runner to be called upon. It appears number 31. As Kate Crosby will be making her first appearance, just a freshman, standing at 5'2", typically an outfielder, but running in place of the catcher Hallie Holland here with 2 outs. Kate Crosby from Eagle, Idaho.
Pitch running to first base for the Yotes, number 31, Kate Crosby. Now heading right fielder number 1, Lexi Navarrete.
And Navarrete looking to continue this 2-out rally. Smith has allowed back-to-back hits to the 8 and 9 hole hitters for the Yotes. Lineup has flipped over as Navarrete stands in the box and will look at strike 1. Smith steps into the pitching circle. This will be her 80th pitch. And the 80th one is swung on and hit towards center field. Under it is Reese, who will conclude the top of the 5th inning. So allowed out number 3 and a clutch one as Smith responds after allowing 2 hits with 2 outs. And the home side of the 5th will be up next here on the GSAC Sports Network. Welcome back out to Glendale, Arizona. If you are just joining me, I'm Ryan Cirk. It's been a pleasure to bring you this opening game of the 2024 season for the Arizona Christian Firestorm, as this first pitch to Miranda Hipolito, who leads things off here in the bottom of the fifth, is looked at for ball one. Grace Neer goes back out into the pitching circle after coming in relief of Annie Polster. Hipolito 1 and 2 today with an RBI. We'll look at ball two. And with the sun going down behind the houses, it has gotten a little bit cooler here in Glendale, Arizona, as that pitch is looked at for ball three. So 3 straight balls to start things off here in the bottom of the fifth. Has Hipolito in a nice hitter's count. We'll see if she gets the green light, as she will look at ball four instead. So 4 straight pitches and 4 straight balls will give Hipolito the chance to trot on down the first base line and take first base. Designated player Abby Kovault will step into the batter's box as she adjusts her gloves.
Designated player number 1, Abby Kovault.
1 and 2 today, as she will try to bunt. She does hold back in time, so it's a 1-0 count. Kovault with 1 hit and 1 strikeout today in her 2 plate appearances. And Grace Neer hasn't had a very successful outing to start things off here in the fifth. Has thrown 6 pitches and has thrown 6 straight balls. Hipolito led things off with a walk as she stands at first base. Kovault will hold back in time and look at a ball 7. And the Firestorm dugout is loving it, as I'm sure you can hear from home. Neer's pitch is in there, so 3-1. Neer able to bounce back after 7 straight balls. Hipolito still at first. Three-one pitch in there, so now the count is full. 3-2-1, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and a runner on, no outs. Payoff pitch is swung on and tapped. Foul. Everybody out in the field thought it was a live ball, and everybody will have to go back to their starting positions and redo that. On deck is Dana Herrera. Payoff pitch again is swung on and hit through the gap between third and short. And a tremendous plate appearance by Abby Kovault has 2 runners on with no outs for the Firestorm. So if it's 6 runs in this inning, it ends the game?
Well, 4. It's 8.
Coming up now is Dana Herrera. And just as a reminder, if there are 4 runs scored here by the Firestorm, the game will conclude. As there is a mercy rule in college softball. We're only halfway there, but the Firestorm are in business with no outs and 2 runners on with 1 in scoring position. 1-1 the count on Herrera. And a hefty swing and a miss by Dana Herrera has Neer in control, 1-2. Ippolito at second, Cobalt at first, and a swing and a miss as Grace Neer is able to bounce back and respond. As Ryan Reese will go into the left-handed batter's box.
Center fielder number 5, Ryan Reese.
She will look at strike one. Reese from Boulder City, Nevada. 0 for 1 so far today. She was pinch hit for last time. That one's too low. Evens the count at 1. On deck is Brina Henry. And even though there is a net right in front of me, I do still have to kind of jolt my head back a couple of times because a couple of foul balls have been swung this way. But the more I do it, the more I'll get a hang of it. Doing basketball, I never have to worry about that. This one is looked at for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two pitches swung on and hit towards the gap at second. And on it was the second baseman, Ashley Nixon, which will load the bases. So an infield single by Ryan Reese will load the bases and bring up Brina Henry to try and potentially end this game with a walk-off grand slam. And calling time is the College of Idaho. We'll see if we have a pitching change or not as Al Mendiola goes back out to discuss things with Grace Neer. Good crowd on hand today for the opening game of 2024 for the ACU softball team. It is the first of 2 games being played here tonight. College of Idaho undefeated after beating Park Gilbert twice yesterday, and Arizona Christian also undefeated as they are 0-0. No wins and no losses here in the beginning of the season. And in control to start things off 1-0. And we won't have a pitching change, just kind of a pep talk. And I swear every time there's a mound visit between the pitcher and the head coach, the next pitch is usually a strike. And we'll see if Grace Neer, after the pep talk, is encouraged and will fire in a strike. And she does fire in a strike, but it's swung on and hit down the right field line by Henry. And scoring 2 runners. Henry will try to advance to second, but she'll be caught out. So the Firestorm will score 2. As Henry will be cut out trying to advance to second. As that one was seared down the right field line out past the outstretched glove of Mikkel. So Arizona Christian will lead 6-0. And the first pitch is looked at for strike 1. Runner on third is Ryan Reese. Up to the plate now is Caitlin Terzakis. 1-1. And a good job by the catcher, Holland, to keep that one within her grasp. Could have potentially scored Reese from third had that hit the backstop. Terzakis making her first at bat today. We'll look at ball 3. Two outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Firestorm have been in complete control from the very start. 3 runs in that first inning as the count is ended Looked like that was going to be strike 2, but umpire Sarah got better, says that's going to be ball 4, and Terzakis will make her way down the first base line and take first base. And this is not what you want to see if you're a College of Idaho fan, as Claire Buckley will go up to the plate with a chance to end this game with a ball in the gap, as the mercy rule in college softball is 8. First pitch to Buckley is looked at for ball 1. And it doesn't get much easier for Near if Buckley does somehow find a way to get on base, as Jaden Miles will be up next. Buckley today 1 for 3. As this one is a tapped foul for strike 1. This one is swung on and hit to second. Collecting is Nixon and firing on to first for out number 3. That will conclude the bottom of the 5th, but the Firestorm tack on 2 more runs, and we'll see if the Yotes can finally get on the board next on the GSAC Sports Network. Hattie Haruza will start things off here in the top of the 6th. Firestorm still with a commanding 6-0 lead. And back out onto the pitching circle is Savannah Smith, who will fire in ball 1. Due up this inning is Haruza, Walker, and Powell. A second pitch is called a strike. Sarah got better. Hasn't had too many controversial calls today, as she's done a pretty good job calling balls and strikes behind home plate. And James Whittekind at first has had a tough job today, as there's been a couple of bang-bang plays over at first. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Two-one pitch, too far outside, 3-1. Haruza is a dangerous hitter, so I don't blame Savannah Smith trying to pitch around her here. This one is swung on and hit foul, and the count is full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So far, Savannah Smith, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Haruza hasn't contributed to any of those. 0-2 so far tonight. And she will trot on down the first base line and take the first base bag. And that will bring up Lolo Walker, a powerful hitter from Meridian, Idaho.
Number 24, Lolo Walker.
Walker 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Smith has done a good job against the 1 through 4 hitters, has struggled against the later end of the lineup. As Walker will start things off looking at ball 1. This will be the third time Smith faces the top of the lineup. As Walker will swing and pop one out towards right field in foul territory, but that one will be caught by a fan and be allowed strike number 1. It is great to be able to play softball in January. Can't do that many places, but Arizona does give you that opportunity. And I'm not surprised to see a lot of College of Idaho fans in attendance trying to escape some of that not so favorable weather in Idaho. This one is swung on and hit towards left field. Going under it is Garcia, and she grabs that one, throws it in quickly for out number 1. Walker, who had those 3 home runs yesterday, is 0 for 3 so far today. She'll have another chance in about an hour when we have game number 2. As Madeline Powell will go into the left-handed batter's box. She's 0 for 1 today with a base on balls. And that's going to be called strike 1 to start things off. Savannah Smith with high heat to get ahead in the count. On first is Haruza. That's going to go foul as well. In an 0-2 hole is Madeline Powell. I did mention how good of a player she is as well, but Savannah Smith has been that good out in the pitching circle, holding the best players of the College of Idaho lineup to no hits, really. This one is going to be looked at for a ball. Dangerous pitch to leave off, but 1 ball and 2 strikes. This will be pitch a 93 for Savannah Smith. Looking to go the distance. And a swing and a miss will strike out Madeline Powell and be out number 2. Savannah Smith looks as good as she did in the first inning, and not allowing any danger really to speak of for the College of Idaho Yotes. And it'll bring up Ashlyn Nixon to the plate, as we do have a slight delay as umpire got better, collects a couple of softballs from the Firestorm dugout.
Second baseman, number 10, Ashlyn Nixon.
Nixon 0 for 2 so far with a strikeout. Still on first is Hattie Haruza, who was able to negotiate a base on balls to lead off the inning, but since then her 3 and 4 hitters haven't really helped her move along, as Walker was retired on a long fly out towards left field, and then Powell was struck out. And an 0-2 count to start things off on Ashlyn Nixon has Smith right back in business. Smith with 6 strikeouts, only 3 hits and 2 base on balls allowed. 0-2 pitch is a swing and a miss. And Smith will conclude the top of the 6th inning. Firestorm in complete command, and it starts with the pitcher, Savannah Smith. So no runs on no hits and 1 runner left on as we approach the bottom of the 6th inning next on the GSAC Sports Network. The Firestorm will start things off with Jaden Miles, who looks at ball one. Miles, 2 for 3 today. A couple of infield singles. Firestorm have done a good job using the small ball to generate runs, as Miles was trying to beat that one out. She would have, but it goes foul. No home runs yet, and just, I believe, one extra base hit that was able to find the gap out towards right center field. And other than that, the Firestorm have just generated runs with singles and infield hits. As the 1-1 pitch is swung on and hit towards second. Miles has speed, and she will get there with no throw from Ashlyn Nixon. Miles, 3 for 4 today. She comes into this season batting .360, but now her average is standing at a whopping .750. As Elena Garcia comes up. Garcia also 2 for 3 today. She can end it with a home run. That pitch from Grace Neer is too high. Ball one. Annie Polster was the starter for the College of Idaho Yotes, as this one is swung on and hit straight back up the middle. I've never seen that before, but the runner on first, Miles, ran towards second and then went back to first. And there is out number one, as Elena Garcia will be out number one. So not something you see every day in softball either. So instead of Miles being in scoring position with one out, she is back at first with one out. This one is swung on and hit to third. Opportunity to turn two if they hurry, and the Yotes do hurry, and they do get two. College of Idaho Yotes able to turn the double play to end the sixth inning. Coming back out for her seventh inning of work will be Savannah Smith, looking for her complete game. We'll be right back on the GSAC Sports Network. And here in the top of the seventh inning, the Firestorm need 3 outs to win the first game of the doubleheader between Arizona Christian University and the College of Idaho. As leading things off for the Yotes is Kaylee McDonald. Smith had 22 complete games last season.
33 total in her career, 11 in this.
And she has 33 in her career, so she's looking for her first complete game of 2024 in the first game and her 34th career complete game as a member of the Firestorm. This one is swung on and popped up towards the dugout of the Yotes, and heads-up play by Henry off the first base bag on to collect out number one. So up to the plate now is Sydney Learman.
Number 16, Sydney Learman.
5'9" sophomore from Hillsboro, Oregon. Now, as she looks at a ball one, Yotes down to their final 2 outs, and they have a mountain to climb, which is 6 runs. And it would be possible, however, with how good Savannah Smith has been looking out there on the pitching circle, it's not looking likely for the Yotes, as this is a big, hefty swing and a miss by Learman. Evens the count at 1. College of Idaho is ranked 13th in the NAIA coming into this game. And another swing and a foul tip, 1-2. Arizona Christian unranked so far. We'll see if that changes. First pitch was at 4:30 as we approach an hour and 45 minutes. Learman will swing and miss. And down to their final out now are the Yotes, as Savannah Smith has been in complete control. This will be her 100th pitch as Lindsey Jones steps into the batter's box. 1 for 2 so far. Smith with 8 strikeouts and only 3 hits allowed and 2 walks and 6 in 2/3 innings pitched. Smith's first pitch is at the shins, ball 1. Strike at the knees this time. So Smith starts off with a pitch at the shins. Second pitch raises it just a little bit to find the knees. Evens the count at 1. Smith too high. Ball 2. Make sure to tune in after this in about 25 to 30 minutes once this game concludes for game 2 between the two teams. As a 2-1 pitch doesn't paint the inside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Smith wants to end this game and get her first complete game of the season. 3-1 pitch, swung on and hit foul. Count is full. And the Yotes are down to their final strike. Smith looking for strikeout number 9. The 3-2 pitch is too low, ball 4. So trotting on down the first base line to take first base is Lindsey Jones, and we do have a pinch hitter. Hallie Holland will step aside and make way for number 25, excuse me. It will be Madison Kinsey, 5'7" junior from Kennewick, Washington. And we do have a pitching conference between the infielders, the catcher, and the pitcher.
Pitching for the Yotes, number 25, Madison Kinsey.
Smith will now throw her 110th pitch. First pitch is called a strike, so Smith able to bounce back after walking Jones. On first is Jones At the plate is Madison Kinsey. 0-1 pitch is popped straight up in the air and caught by a fan for strike 2. So once again, the Yotes are down to their final strike. Can Savannah Smith end this game, as we will go to game 2 in about 30 minutes? Smith settles in. The 0-2 pitch is looked at for ball 1. The crowd on the edge of their seats hoping that Savannah Smith can end this game with a strikeout. Would be her 9th of the ball game and would end the game how she started. 1-2 pitch is a swing and a miss, and Savannah Smith will get her first complete game and 34th career complete game to start things off here in 2024. So Arizona Christian will take game 1 6-0 as the Firestorm were in complete control from the very onset, and we'll be back in about 25 to 30 minutes right here on the GSAC Sports Network.